So with our first ever Shellonomics, we have our guest here, Michele Ivey, known as the Cowabunga Corner. She has been featured on many TMNT fan things. We've got her on the Turtle Power documentary, which is that probably your favorite appearance if you had to choose one between the VH1 one, the toys, all that. That was your best one?
My best one goes to Fanatical. As much as I enjoy the Turtle Power doc, because they got a lot of great people on there, Fanatical was the best one that actually shared my story. So for me personally, Fanatical had it down. It also shared a friend of mine who's now passed away.
Oh, okay.
And it shared her story. And so it's very emotional for me to watch it because I see her and I'm like, okay, I love that.
Oh, very sweet. Very sweet.
All right. That's on YouTube. It was shown in like Canada and other countries, not
really?
here in the United States.
Is it easy to find? We just look up Fanatical Michele Ivey and we can find it?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yes.
I'll be checking it out later this weekend then. So what is that one all about? Does it just show does it show your collection, or like you say, from like a little autobiography, so to speak?
It's a better version of what Totally Obsessed was supposed to be. Totally Obsessed was supposed to show fans of different things and what their fandom is to them, and instead they made up their own stories. They edited it and made it sound crazy.
Yes.
Yes, I'm an insane girl who eats pizza every day, and my dream is to become a real Ninja Turtle. Not.
Yeah, that made me quite. Yeah, well, the way they had your family on there too, I was like, okay, this is no way that a diehard Turtle fan would be. It was very offsetting for me too. I'll be honest. I was happy for you to be on that, but it was like, there's no way a Michelangelo fan would be like that.
3 days of filming. 3 days of filming, and it was basically they script you by saying, here's the question. Now we want you to repeat the question without it sounding like a question. So basically put the questions in your own words and then give the answer.
Oh, so it's like a news show. Okay, they just have their own. Oh, so there's media for you, mainstream media. Okay.
Then they would cut your answer away. They would take what they scripted you to say, and they would cut the answer just completely gone. Like they kept trying to tell me that when I fight, I feel like I'm a Ninja Turtle, and I refuse 1,000 times to say that. So I finally agreed to say I feel like the turtles are behind me because it was the only way to get them to drop the subject. Another question that kept coming up that I did not give the answer they wanted, they asked about 4 times in my 3-hour interview, was how much do I eat pizza? And I'm like, maybe 2 or 3 times a month. And since I did not give the answer they wanted, they had Fred Willard say, she lives on a steady diet, Ninja Turtle diet of pizza every day. And I'm like, oh, I do? I didn't know that. And man, I really wish I got the chance to meet him. He was just reading a script. I don't blame him for what happened, but it was funny.
I mean, now, how old were you, if you don't mind sharing, when they filmed that too?
How old was I?
Yeah.
I think I was 26. Yeah, that was 20 years ago. So I was 26.
And they made it like you had imaginary Ninja Turtle friends with you.
Yeah. They wanted me to act like I wanted to become. I want to be a Ninja Turtle, but not in the way they're talking about. My dream was to wear the costumes for the movies, the tours, to go to live appearances as Ninja Turtle. I did it from 1991 to 1993 in the Detroit area. I was Mikey the Party Turtle. I was not an official Ninja Turtle, but I did over 150 birthday parties. Well, just do that. You must be the birthday dude. Happy birthday. Your mom sent me an invitation. And you know me, man, I love the party.
Oh, so you were Cowabunga Carl before Cowabunga Carl came out then, essentially.
Yes.
Oh, is that
and
awesome?
I will say that they got it wrong, just like every movie and TV show does. They make it look like it's the worst job in the world. It's the best job in the world.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm sure, so I guess tell us a story. Like, what was your favorite party you did then as what was your name again for the turtle?
My favorite party?
Yeah.
Okay. And this one's actually on YouTube. You can watch this on Cowabunga Corner. So search up Cowabunga Corner and you can see some of the stuff that I did in my costume. And my dad videotaped this.
Oh, wow.
My teacher in 6th grade, Paul Aspinwall, fantastic teacher. He was such an awesome guy. He would have me sit in the back of the class and draw a huge Ninja Turtle drawing that was laminated and put on his son's wall. Well, for his son's birthday, he decided to bring me in to do the birthday party. But his son knew who I was. So when I walked in saying, happy birthday, he looks up, hi, Michele. Who, Michelle? Who? What? No, my name's Michael. And I had to fight with that for like the first quarter of the party. And then mid party, my sister and I traded out the costume. So I walked out giving Mikey bunny ears. And Paul, no, not Paul, but John drops going, Michelle, you're the turtle. That was one of the best parties, but really another one, the birthday kid's name was Luigi. And I'm a Super Mario Brother fan. I played the original game when Nintendo came out. I had a Nintendo. I played Super Mario Brothers. I had Duck Hunt. Um, and so I'm going to a birthday party for a kid named Luigi. And I show up, and only the kids really spoke English. Most of the adults spoke Italian only.
Oh boy.
I kept chasing the birthday kid around going, dude, you gotta tell me where Mario is. Come on, please. Where's Mario? We get invited once I'm out of the costume to come back in for food. It's all homemade Italian meal in their garage, and it's a huge party. There's a lot of people. The grandmother knew I was the turtle. When you're getting out of costume, you want nothing but Gatorade. You're dehydrated, and solid foods make you sick, but I love Italian food.
So
I had the grandmother stacking my plate, going, eat, munch, munch. I got in the car feeling sick, and then we all turned on Weird Al's lasagna song.
oh
Get
gosh.
nice and big like your cousin Luigi.
Yeah.
My peach by pound, my peach by pound. That song matches that party.
Oh my gosh. So you were pretty much the the family relative playing Santa Claus, and they pulled your beard down to find out who you were. Oh wow.
Only the parents knew I was the one in costume when we came back in, which we got to do at several parties for the really young kids. Older kids, we didn't do this.
Oh
But the
okay.
really young kids, if we were invited back in, we'd be sitting with the adults. They wouldn't even realize that I was their turtle. They wouldn't know.
Really?
Even a lot of adults never caught on. They would come up to my parents and say, how old is your boy in the costume?
Nicely done there, James Bond.
So, yes, I am Clark Kent. Now I'm Superman. I am Clark Kent. Now I'm Superman. I did that in real life. At movie theaters, we would take the costume off and go in and sit and watch the turtle movie and then go get the costume back on before the movie ends and be waiting for the kids outside the theater.
Really? Oh wow. Which movie was
I
that for? Was that Turtles 3 then? Because that was around, you said you did this in the early 90s, right? So were you able to do that for Turtles 3?
Well, no, Turtles 2 and 3. We started the business in March 1991. I did both of the Detroit premieres for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2: The Secret of the Ooze. The first one was held the Saturday before the movie came out by the Dare program. And I showed up there, and we have Bebop with us. Our parties were all crashed by Bebop. And so Bebop's walking around, going up to the poster, pointing at Rouser, going, that's me, that's me. We were interviewed on the local radio station. We're like, yeah, Bebop and Rocksteady's finally in our movies. Um, then we go in and we watch the movie, and both of our jaws drop, going, we got to go and face that same crowd. We got to face the reporters. So we got in costume, missed very end of the movie because we had to be ready. And as they're coming out, everyone's like, yes! Of course, I didn't want to ruin the surprise.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh,
So yeah, I Turtles 2 and 3, all the premieres, and it was again, best job I ever had.
I would say so. Just to see all the smiles on those kids' faces. I mean, you're pretty much the turtle. You're the hero for everybody.
Well, the best smiles are the kids who really needed it. So I enjoy doing parties in like the burnt house neighborhoods of Detroit where you drive through and you don't know if the bang you heard was backfire or a gunshot.
Right.
The parties, those people scrapped up and saved for the parties. So the families, not just the kids, but the parents, the grandparents, the aunts, the uncles, everyone there was part of the parties. But when you went into the rich neighborhoods, like we were in houses where they had courtyards. We were in these fancy houses where the parents treated their kids like their models. So in between the games, the kids were to sit on the couch. They were not allowed to dance. They were not allowed to play. They were told, as soon as you're done at the game, go over to the couch and sit. And I'd go over and try talking to those kids, and the parents would be like, nope, you got to behave. And I'm like, ah! So I didn't like doing the rich parties as much. I love doing Make-A-Wish for kids. I'd go to the hospitals and to the ER units for the children, ICU units. I'd get to see the kids as a turtle and put smiles on them when they needed it most.
Oh,
That's the best thing in the world.
and that's what the turtles are all about, just bringing people together in unity. And oh wow, that is very touching. I didn't know that about you, Michelle. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, I've done a lot that people don't really know because most of these interviews and stuff out there don't touch everything, which is why I have Cowabunga Corner
Yep.
to try and say, here's this is what I did, and this is how I did it. In case you want to try my insanity, I don't recommend it.
And I definitely want to get to that too. So I want to hear enter Michele Ivey. So what is your Ninja Turtle origin story?
My Ninja Turtle origin story is my brother and I went 2 houses down to one of his friends, and the kid brought out a coffee tin of action figures. There was Thundercats, there was Ghostbusters, there was He-Man, and then there was one green toy I didn't recognize that fell out and had 4 little loops on the back of its shell. And I'm like, what is this? And I didn't even remember what the kid told me, but I insisted on playing with that toy because it was the most unique toy I saw in that tin. And that was his Michelangelo toy. Not even a week later, my brother comes in. I'm watching Chippendale Rescue Ranger because we had our afternoon block after school to watch. And I love Chippendale Rescue Rangers, Chippendale when there's danger. I love that series. And so did my brother, but he changed the channel. I'm like, I was watching that. And he goes, yeah, but that's a rerun. We haven't seen this before. The episode was a thing about rats, and I thought I'd like the blue turtle because blue is my favorite color, but I was a Mikey fan before the episode ended. And that Christmas, my mom got me every single Ninja Turtle toy she could find that was on the market. The only two she could not find was Baxter Stockman and the Rat King, and I got them both from Children's Palace in January the following year.
Wow. Now, can you recall if that was the first week that they came out with that series? Because I remember it was in late '87, and it was like a week, mini series they had.
87, I didn't discover them until October 1989.
Oh,
I was late into the game with the cartoon.
okay.
The cartoon's been on for a little bit, but that's okay because then I didn't just have 5 episodes to watch. I had an entire season.
Oh yeah,
And
that was when it was still really good, and that's when our buddy still had his nunchucks too in seasons 1, 2, and 3. So it was still nice to watch him combat in those.
Yeah, I like chucking. And then he switched over to the grappling hook because of England.
Yeah, I was just like, I mean, like, I guess another question is, how much better do you think the original cartoon would have been if they kept up with the anime production that they had in season 1?
Well, of course, the animation was amazing, but they did keep on most of the crew. And the crew tried to keep the show on track. Like they'd go, you got to go darker, darker, darker. And so when the suits were standing over them saying that, they do their few darker episodes, but then as soon as the suits walk away, they would start to play in the studios again.
Oh.
And because of the personality, I didn't mind if the animation was different. I mean, one of my favorite episodes, Cowabunga Shredhead, had that really loose animation that did not look as perfection as that first season, but it was still such a good episode that I can dismiss the animation because I was so pulled into Shredder being Michelangelo.
James Avery, I don't know if that's his favorite episode he voiced, but I know we had a lot of fun doing that one. You could just tell in his spirit in that one.
And Mikey, I crave pizza no more.
Yeah, Kung Pao.
I love it.
Exactly. So, what are some of your favorite childhood memories of Turtles? Then, besides the toys and the show, like, were you able to go see the first movie in theaters when it came out?
Yes. In fact, I have a full reason that I got to see it when I saw it. My mom saw my love for turtles, as I said, and she got me the toys on Christmas of '89.
Okay.
And then in January 1990, we found a pamphlet. It was actually from Palladium RPG Books that had a story about the movie, and it had a picture of Leonardo on the cover of it. I still have this pamphlet at home, and it has Leo inside the gift shop holding that little beaver toy. And we're staring at that now. My family's costume makers, like my party turtle costume's homemade. And we're staring at that going, that costume is absolutely amazing. and I want to see this movie. Of course, that's coming out of my mouth as a kid, all excited.
Yeah.
And my mom sees this as an opportunity. I am dyslexic. I was a first grade reader in fifth grade. I have failed every spelling test all the way through my senior year in high school, and I did graduate. Um, but I really, really sucked at reading and writing. And my mom wanted to get me to read, but all the reading programs they put me in school did nothing for me. So my mom found the movie novel, handed it to me, and said, "You want to see the very first movie of Ninja Turtles? On the very first day, at the very first screening of that day, you want to see the movie before anybody else sees it in this area. You want to see that very first one." Yes, yes, Mom. What's the deal? Read this book. It's the very first book I ever read. So I read that book. It was a struggle. It was a huge struggle, but I read it so much that when I was watching the movie, I'm like, wait a second. He went to see E.T. in the book. Why is it Critters? Why does the movie say Critters on the movie theater instead of E.T.? It was E.T. in the book. Um, I saw all the differences in the movie, and I found that completely interesting, a lot of fun. And then my mom started picking up the comic books, and I started reading the comics. Then the internet came around, and I really did learn to read through Ninja Turtles. But yeah, I saw Turtles 1 as a kid. But I have to say, some of my favorite turtle memories of something official goes to something that most people cringe at on YouTube. I love "Out of Our Shells We're Coming, Out of Our Shells."
Yes, I was gonna get to that because that's how I found you on VH1. And I'm like, finally, somebody gets it. Somebody actually appreciates this. Because I found that on. Now, did you actually get to attend that show? Oh my
I've got
god!
stories. I've got stories.
Oh,
See,
let's hear.
my first time hearing about the Coming Out of Shells tour, I was at the Detroit State Fair,
Okay.
and they had a costume like the Jamie Cohan chief mascot costumes that would go around and do appearances. Those turtles were expensive to get, actually. They can't talk normally, but the show was recorded, and it was basically based on the episode Attack of the Killer Pizzas without the pizza monsters, where Shredder's dropping flyers into the sewers to try and get the turtles to come out of hiding. Well, the flyers that he dropped, and he threw a ton of them at the audience, were these little green papers with the Coming Out of the Shells tour image on it. And it says only at Pizza Hut. And I'm like, "Mom, what is this?" And I hand my mom the green flyer. We grabbed up a bunch of them. And then my mom calls Pizza Hut, and it was, "Oh, well, next week, the Coming Out of the Shells tour, the new Ninja Turtle concert soundtrack will be sold at Pizza Hut." So we went the day that the tapes started to be sold. I was there day one, got into the car, popped the tape, and I'm like, "They sound like girls. That sounds weird. This is supposed to be the Ninja Turtles?"
Yeah.
Out of our shells we're coming, out of our shells. When there's music inside of you, someday you know that it's going to come through. And I'm like, what is this? And then we start seeing the ads. October 3rd, live on pay-per-view. My mom got online before we saw the pay-per-view show. And she bought tickets for the Detroit show at the Masonic Temple on October 17th. But I wanted to see it beforehand. So we got the pay-per-view showing. In fact, I recorded it, which is basically the same thing that you can buy on VHS,
Right.
but longer. There's more scenes with Kip. There's all this filler that they had to put in the intermission of different type of animation and stuff, like world safety, like the environment stuff, that they were filling the full intermission up with. And I watched it there, and I'm like, Shredder's wearing a dress? What is this? Oh, this is so silly. Oh my goodness, I can't believe how silly this is. Now, I'm only 12 years old.
Yeah.
And my dad makes me my turtle costume because I wanted to be Michelangelo for Halloween. That's what the costume was made for, not to do children's birthday parties. It was a Halloween costume. And we called the Masonic Temple because my dad finished it on October 17th before we could go to the show. And said, "Hey, my 12-year-old wants to wear her homemade turtle costume to show the turtles. Can she?" And they're like, "Yes, of course, we encourage this behavior." They don't know my dad's won World Costume Contest. Um, So I wear it. I get down to the fourth row center where our seats are. I sit down. I even take the head off the costume as I'm sitting there in the crowd. And then my brother looks over and goes, in the next aisle, April's interviewing people. You should go get interviewed. So I get up, put the head back
Right.
on, and I realize I can't walk in front of people's legs because the seats are too close and I'm in a bulky costume.
Yeah.
So I have to walk all the way to the back, walk behind the crowd, and start walking back towards the front. And as I'm doing that, one lady comes up to me and says, can you sign this for my son? Sure, do that. Why not? Sign. Next thing I know, I'm surrounded. I can't move. I can't see my mom or even hear her anymore. I got kids hugging my legs. I got parents shoving posters, the tour program, the cloth flag things. All this stuff is being shoved in my face, and I don't even know how to spell Michelangelo.
Well, you're the perfect size too, because you said you're 12 years old, so you are like the teenage height probably too. You know what I mean? To be more relatable too. So it's a perfect, you know.
Oh, it was wonderful. And the next thing I know, I have this guy tapping my back, and all of a sudden the crowd is just gone. And he's like, young boy, come with me.
Uh-oh.
I'm like, okay. It's security. They're pulling me out of the room. I look back as I see the turtles coming out from the stage, and their sewer manholes popping up onto the stage, and they're starting coming out of their shells. They order me to get out of my costume. They laugh like crazy that we actually called first. I go and all I was wearing underneath the costume was the Donatello pajamas. So I have these
Okay.
Donnie pajamas with the green knee, no, the purple knee pads, the shell pattern, and the green arms and legs. And my mom ran and bought me a Coming Out of the Shells tour T-shirt, and we put that on, and I wore it backwards with the image on the front instead of the back. And that's how I watched the Coming Out of the Shells tour the first time. I got in before they started the next song. That was fantastic. And that's only my first time seeing it live. I saw the Coming Out of the Shells tour 5 times live, and I saw the Getting Down to Your Town tour 4 times live.
And not many fans even know what Getting Down Your Town is, guys. That's a sequel to Coming Out of Their Shells. I was at Six Flags too, I believe, right? Wasn't that at Six Flags, the Getting Down in Your Town, right? Okay.
Yep. My next 4 times of seeing the Coming Out of Shells tour was at Six Flags Grand America Chicago, and then the following year I returned and saw the Getting Down to Your Town tour 4 times, and I got backstage twice at the Getting Down to Your Town tour.
Oh wow! So did you get to meet the Casey Jones actor? Any of those guys in the back then?
Casey is so awesome.
Oh, no
Okay,
way.
the Casey actor in the video
Yeah.
is the same guy, but he has a problem. He's part of the union, and so he can't show his face on video. In the show, he'd rip off the mask and he looked like Elias Cotis. The show was 1,000 times better live than it was on video.
Yeah, because it's still on
1,000.
YouTube.
And there's so many deleted lines from the video because of licensing issues with things being brought up.
Oh man, it's unfortunate that didn't make it to pay per view. So when did that one come out after Coming Out of Their Shells? Like a year or two? Do you know like the release of that one?
Coming on the Shelves ran from 1990 all the way through 1991 because I saw it at Six Flags in July 1991. I saw it Getting Down to Your Town at Six Flags in July 1992, only a year later.
This is just to pick your brain for turtle trivia. I do know that Cam Clark and Peter Renaday were a part of the first one. Do you know why they were a part of it and the other cartoon voice actors weren't?
The others never even got reached out to. I think it was because they had a relative say, "Hey, I can get a hold of these people."
Oh, and because Mike and Raph were like the vocalist too, pretty much for most of the show. So okay.
Also, the creator. If you think about it, Mike is Bob, and Bob is the creator of the Coming Out of the Shell story. He's one of the main creators. So he had to travel with the show, and he was Mike's voice.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, wow. Now, did you get to see them when they were on Oprah as a kid? Because my grandma knew I loved Ninja Turtles, and she's like, Michael, you're not going to believe this. Your turtles are going to be on Oprah. I'm like, no, they're not. It's like, seriously. Did you get to see that as a kid? I mean, I was like, unbelievable.
I loaded it from TV and watched it 1,000 times and would laugh every time they're saying April can't hold her breath long enough. I'm pretty sure that the people in the costumes were doing the voices for Don and Leo, because that did sound like it could have been Alfredo Miller doing Leonardo's voice.
Oh,
I think that was definitely Alfredo talking, like going, "Oh, that don't sound like Leonardo."
yeah,
But if you want to know Alfredo's voice, you watch "We Wish You a Turtles Christmas" and Turtle Tunes, and he was Leo's voice in that.
really?
Rap, rap,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's.
rap, rap
I
Christmas
do watch
song.
that every Christmas. One of my buddies, a younger guy who grew up with the '03 Turtles, I told him, you got to do a reaction video for this Ninja Turtles coming out, the Christmas tunes. And he was like, what is this? Oh, it's hilarious. So I watch that one every Christmas. Yep. We never got our cartoon Christmas special. At least we have that.
Oh, don't say that. We didn't get it for the '87 series, but we
2000.
definitely got it for the 2003.
Yep, which was good for us because that was our homeboy who had the main role in that too, which was very nice. The Christmas Aliens.
Oh, yeah.
Another good episode.
Totally.
What else do you want to ask? So now, growing up, did you ever try any funky pizzas because of the turtles? Did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, I could say I was eating funky pizzas before the turtles entered my life.
Really?
And I blame my dad. My dad is an artist. He did a lot of art through the Michigan area, and there was a pizza place that hired him to do their signage and paint up the front of the pizza place. And they had the BLT pizza, which you see me making on Totally Obsessed.
Yeah.
I was in third grade, 2 years before I got into Ninja Turtles. I was in the BLT.
Wow. BLT.
Yes, but then of course Ninja Turtles inspired trying ice cream on pizza. Not my favorite, but peanut butter and jelly pizza is better than it sounds.
I did try that too. Actually, I had a contest where I said if I hit X amount, I would try it, and it wasn't actually that bad. I was able to down that one. Anchovies, not so much, but peanut butter and jelly, sign me up for that one. Yeah, exactly.
I won't even ask. No, I won't even tell somebody I'll try an anchovy pizza. Someone brings it up, I'll be like, "Anchovies? You put anchovies on that thing, and you're in big trouble." Okay,
100%.
Dude. Okay. Yeah, I agree with Robbie Riss's line, not the cartoon when it comes to anchovies.
Yes. Now, here's another one for you with pizza toppings here, because my buddies are split 50-50. I tried it once, and I call it Starburst on pizza. Pineapple, does it belong on pizza? Yes or no?
Pineapple definitely belongs on pizza. Like I saw one of the punishments was that you'd have to sit in the corner and eat pineapple if you're rude to the guest or host. And I'm like, dude, where do I go to this corner? I will eat the pineapple pizza, please.
You guys heard it here first. I'm not a fan, and I even say my Fred Wolf Turtles didn't put pineapple on any of their pizzas, but I guess okay. We'll take your word for it then, Michelle.
I was a Hawaiian pizza fan as a kid. I still am. But my sister's allergic to meat, so we usually do pineapple and feta instead of pineapple and ham.
Oh, okay.
And it's really good. I've always had a bit of a sweet tooth.
Okay.
So I guess that's one of the reasons. But here's the thing. I like my pineapple sweet, but I don't like my pizza sauce too sweet. So like Jet's Pizza, I'll order their BLT and I'll adore it. But if I get their actual pizza, their sauce itself is too sweet for me.
Oh, okay. So now where can I get this pineapple on pizza? I guess I'll do a take two in your honor to try it again. So which, is there a franchise brand you recommend I try? Because I think it was Papa John's when I first had it. So if there's one that's better, let me know and I'll give it a shot. I will try it again. In your honor.
I've been doing Domino's, like the first Turtle movie.
Domino's? Okay.
I used to promote Pizza Hut very strongly, but I am so sick of them turning to express Pizza Huts. I want my sit-in Pizza Hut.
Yes, exactly.
So I'm not as Pizza Hut gung ho as I used to be.
Same here. Yeah, I used to go to their lunch buffet. When you were around, didn't they have the lunch buffets out by your Pizza Huts when we were kids? That was the best time. We'd have a half day at school. There we go. And especially
even a few years ago, when my dad was in the hospital in 2020,
yeah,
there was a Pizza Hut still over there. And at this point, most of the Pizza Huts have already been demolished.
Right.
But there was still one sit-in Pizza Hut, and they still had the lunch salads and everything. And on the way to go see my dad every day, we would stop and just get that salad and the pizza and stuff and breadsticks because it was cheap. It was something we could enjoy, get some food in us because we were going to sit in the hospital for like 6 hours with nothing to eat.
Oh man, how delicious were those strudel pizzas too? Remember those dessert pizzas? I wish they could bring those back.
There's so much good food out there that's not returning.
Yeah.
And there's times where I'm like, why do you remove stuff from the menu if you know people like it?
Right, exactly. So I think we're going to be on the same page here. So I guess I want to ask this. Why is the first Turtle movie just so freaking good? Nothing still compares to it, in my opinion, on the big screen, except for that.
I agree. To me, the turtles look the most realistic in that movie. That's my favorite, absolute favorite design. In fact, if you look to my side here, you'll see that I have the NECA Donatello standing here in the
Oh,
office.
nice.
That is my absolute favorite design of the turtles. On top of that, the acting and everything, the just how the script came together. There was nothing inside this movie where it felt forced. It never felt like, well, this is what we want to accomplish in the movie, and we're going to have to force this character out of character to accomplish it, which every other turtle movie since, including Mutant Mayhem, which I really enjoy, has those moments where I feel like they force stuff. The original movie was so fluent. There's only one big error with that movie that I have, and that's the origin story. I think they should have left in Saki's brother. Other
Oh,
than
from the
that,
comics, you think? From the original? Oh, that would actually been a good
well,
point. That was from the comics, right? The Oroku Nagi, right? That was the first one. Okay. Yeah, because I know they said Steve Barron really wanted to do, and I read in the what was it, the visual history book, they said they wanted to make it something different because Friedman, their agent, was like, "We already have the cartoon on TV. We don't need another cartoon movie. We want to do something different." So that I
right.
remember too.
And it was a beautiful blend between a cartoon and the original comics to where it made its own universe, but both areas, the fans could appreciate what was on the screen in front of them. It
Exactly.
wasn't saying we're going to make something completely new. No, they did a blend, a beautiful blend, and they brought in characters that we still talk about to today that were only in the movie. Danny Pennican, Charles Pennican, Kino, Tatsu. When you stop and look at the movies, it's like, where are these characters? Now we keep seeing stuff like everyone keeps screaming for Kino to come back. Kino was amazing, but there was so many other characters. Like it would have been great if one of the shows could do a nod to Chief Stearns. Just name one of the police officers in the cartoon Chief Stearns. You can't bring in Ray; he passed away. But if we could give an homage to him, I'd be happy.
Oh god, I love him in Turtles too. With it about his record, my record clearly shows that I have no off the record record. Make a record of that. Oh, and if you guys have not yet, we're gonna get to our Cowabunga Corner YouTube channel. But I did see one of those videos there. You actually have the heads from the third movie. Is that correct?
Yes, I have Michelangelo and Leonardo's animatronic heads. There was 2 heads per turtle made, and when all effects went under, they auctioned off one set of those heads. And this one guy got a couple of the heads, and he watched as somebody else put the Raphael head on eBay, and I was the second highest bidder at $1,800, but I lost. Somebody else won at 2,000,
Oh, the snipes.
and then he came to me and said, I will sell you a turtle head. And I, of course, had to make sure it was the real deal. I went through all the chains because I'm in touch with Mirage Studios already at that time and made sure it was a real head and went through. I did get a loan at the time because I was building my credit. And then after I paid off that loan, he contacts me and says, by the way, I have another turtle head. I'm like, that was so expensive. The only way I'm doing it is if it's Michelangelo. I am not going to buy Raph or Don from that movie. There's no way I'll do it. Only if it's Mike. It better not be Mike. I can't afford this. And then he puts Michelangelo in front of me. And Mikey cost me 2,000, and he arrived with a broken jaw, and his flesh was already starting to deteriorate underneath the chin. He didn't even have the entire base. Leonardo came with everything, and Mikey just for $200 more, I got gypped pretty much on some of the extra stuff.
Oh man! Oh, you couldn't pass it up because that's your main guy. Like me, it's like just like it's a once in a lifetime. Otherwise, before it goes into the wrong hands, so to speak. So.
Right.
Oh,
I know. At the time, Eric kept the other set. So from what I understand, there's only those 4 heads out there. Do not believe anyone if they say they're selling an animatronic head from the first 2 turtle movies. Those will never be on the market. Most of them were destroyed. Only one remains. The skin was ripped off a bit, and it is in the Henson's collection. All of the other turtle heads and Tokan Razar was destroyed. If you see heads from those movies, like you might see a stunt costume, those are stunt heads, not the animatronic heads.
back to that first movie too. Just another pick your brain. Do you think it's ever possible we will get that director's cut we've all been craving on the forums? Everybody has wanted a director's cut release of that first movie because I know there's more, and you can explain more because you're more into this time. But like, I know there's more with that farm scene with Michelangelo wearing a blindfold. If you know more about that, can you elaborate on that for us, please? Because that's one of my favorite scenes.
Okay, they definitely did a huge training session where it was about an apple, really being able to do the blindfold fight and eat an apple at the same time. And all of the turtles was getting this down, but Raph had the hardest time with it, which is why and later in the fight he's eating an apple in the sewer.
Oh, so that's where that
It
comes from.
relates back to that training scene. I've read it once in the script. I don't have it memorized, but I did read the script through and got to read that entire scene, and it is epic. I own the scripts. I just don't have time to sit down and reread them like I did when I was a kid.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, there is a lot more to the original movie, just like anything else. Like Turtles 3 script is so much better than the movie.
No, I
I
like
love
Turtles 3 more than
3.
Turtles 2. So yeah, I'd like to hear more about Turtles 3. I'm probably one of the outsiders who actually likes that one. I mean, I love Henson's creations in Turtles 2, but it just didn't age as well as Turtles 3, in my opinion.
For me, Turtles 2 was too much of a cut and paste. We have Bebop, no, we have Shredder again.
Yeah,
It's Turtles versus
and
Foot.
we have to please
And
the main
also, they
media.
took the weapons away.
Yes,
They made it more kid friendly. They
yes.
kind of went in a different direction than I was hoping. It was very easy to memorize Turtles 2. I can go through the entire script. Kino, yo, Kino, get in here. We have another order for that O'Neill lady. You kidding me again? She ought to buy wholesale. I can go through that entire movie, no problem. I could do that with any of the Turtle movies, but Turtles 2 was the one where it was just like I went home and told the entire movie to my grandma on the phone. It was such an easy one to get through.
Yes.
Turtles 3, you got to see the turtles interact with more people. The entire village, they're walking around, nothing on, being able to interact with people. And you get such beautiful lines like, wait, really, I'm a beautiful princess in disguise. Sword, break the spell, give me a kiss. Clint Eastwood, nah. Hey, Butch, don't you know westerns are dead? It's such a gorgeous movie. I mean, I'm sitting here with a Turtles 3. Well, the others are behind me, and I have a Turtles 3 movie prop right here too. This is
Oh,
actually from Turtles 3.
oh, if I could play Name That Prop, I believe that's one. Now, is that, I'm guessing that's one of the Turtles ones when they first used the scepter, right?
Yep, when they go back into the past,
Check it out, we're in Shogun.
there's Raph wearing one.
Oh, nice.
And this was Raphael's mask from
Oh,
Turtles 3, and it is signed by Matt Hill, who was Raphael. It is also autographed by Eastman and Laird.
oh, now did you get them? Did you have to mail it to Eastman and Laird? Because I know you've actually spoken with both of them before, right? You're pretty not tight with them, but you have seen them both in person.
I've known Eastman and Laird since '92. But yeah, I never mail any of my props. They travel with me.
Oh,
So if
okay.
I'm going to go see them, I will bring the props. And I see Kevin a lot. Peter's harder to see because
Okay.
he stays to the East Coast, and I kind of travel the country. So
Okay.
I like seeing the guys.
That is awesome. Another question would be is so Power Rangers and X-Men were starting to take over, but you like me stuck with Ninja Turtles. Why? What made you say, you know what, I don't care? Again, we had less TV shows. They were going from 5 days a week to just on Saturdays. You had your Red Sky. They went to Next Mutation, and yet you still stuck with Turtles. Why?
Okay. First of all, I love children's entertainment. I'm one of those people who watch almost every kid's cartoon. I'll give everything a chance. And I was one of those kids that saw the ads for Power Rangers and thought, oh, cool, there's a martial arts show coming out. But I'm also a performer. And I believe acting has so much potential and makes the show or breaks the show. And then I watched Power Rangers for the first time. The first day it aired, I was on that channel. I watched it. It's not like I did not give it a try. Acting sucked in that show. And the martial arts was not martial arts, it was dancing. I was a martial arts teacher, and I had kids coming in trying to do the moves from Power Rangers, hurting themselves at my classes.
Oh, wow.
So, and Ninja Turtles, we brought in real martial artists. If you saw a kick, it's actually based on a real kick.
Yeah.
And when you're watching Power Rangers, I was in dance class, I was in martial arts class. I know the difference between the kicks, how the foot's supposed to be, how the wrist, no, the ankles are supposed to be, the hips. I know the stance. And I was like, these guys are dancing. You lose everything in it.
Yeah. Especially for so like so. What inspired you? I'm sure it was turtles, but I didn't know you were actually an instructor. Can you share some of that too? Then, what year did you become
Yeah.
official, and what color belt
I,
did you end up getting?
I got up to blue in two different
Oh,
styles. And
congratulations!
the reason I didn't like go pursuing after the black belt is because I realized the higher the belt, the more it was just about the spin kicks and the fancy moves to do like TV show stuff, not the stuff that's going to save your life. I got into the martial arts because living in the Detroit area can be kind of rough. And
Okay.
anyone who knows Michigan knows 8 Mile is one of the worst streets to be around. I had a bullet scrape my forehead when I was 7 years old, around 3 p.m. on a Sunday afternoon. My mom was driving down 8 Mile Road. Somebody came out of Detroit, shot a gun into the traffic.
Yeah.
It went right through our car, breaking two windshield, the sliding door on our VW bus, and then the back window. And when they pull the string, if I was sitting normal in the seat, I would not be sitting here right now. But I was scooted down trying to kick a doll closer to me. So I'm lucky to be here. This is where I lived. I lived 5 blocks north of 8 Mile Road. And at my elementary school, they picked the nerd of the school, and that was me. And the nerd of the school would be attacked, not just by your own classmates, but by all the school. And their siblings from junior high and high school would also show up at the school and try to beat the living daylights out of you. I was thrown in front of cars. I was pushed in an iron pole when I stitches across my forehead. I had police breaking up the fights. I could not walk around the block without being attacked. At lunchtime, I had to stay inside the school. I couldn't go outside and do recess with the other children. My mom would have to be at the school to try and pick me up with the principal, walking me to my mother's car. That's how serious this was. And all of the cartoons before Ninja Turtles said you need superpowers or money to be able to win in a battle. And if someone's bigger than you, you're screwed. As long as you're the small person, you're in trouble. And then out comes the Ninja Turtles, and you watch Casey Jones up against Tatsu in that first movie, and he wins. And then he points at the kid who goes, "What are we standing here for? Let's get him." Casey's like, "You want to be next?" The fight was over. And I'm like, wait, you mean if you take out the leader? The leaders will win. I know who the leaders are. Um, if you take out the leaders, the fight over. So I started trying to defend myself. And yes, if you take out the leader, the fight was over. That was it. You didn't have to fight everyone. You just have to fight the person just trying to direct everyone.
Excellent.
And then my mom put me in a different school, best school year of my life. But for junior high, I blended right back in with the same kids that were attacking me, and they tried to start it back up. They really tried. And my mom says, "I'm putting you into the martial arts because Ninja Turtles have inspired you to try and stand up for yourself. Maybe it's time you learn how to defend yourself." And I embraced it. My first year, I was in a organization that did tank judo, but I found out that the people running the organization was extremely crooked. They gave belts away so people would not quit, and that's not why I got into it. I
Right.
did not get in for a free belt or a free ride to the top. So I took a year searching, and I joined an organization known as NAMA Karate, which was the North American Alliance of Martial Arts. I trained in different weapons with the bow staff, the nunchucks, and the sais and kali sticks. And I also took classes on how to teach beginner classes. So I was teaching white through purple belts for Nama Karate at their out schools.
So you just shared a couple of tough times growing up. When was another time you were able to lean on Ninja Turtles? I know a lot of us fans, if you don't have, a parent or a sibling or someone you could talk to, you can just like the show, you can always count on them, just like coming out of their shells. You can count on us. So if you don't mind, and let's make it a little, emotional. When was the time you knew you can lean on them to help you get through something?
Uh, there's been so many times. Um, there's I will always say I could always lean on my family. But for me, something more recent is where things like this, where entertainment comes in. And I will stress, it doesn't matter if it's Ninja Turtles, it doesn't matter if it's music, it doesn't matter if it's movies. If you know somebody going through physical, damaging, handicapped situations, disabled, and they're going through attacks and stuff, instead of getting right in their face saying, focus and breathe, turn on entertainment. Turn on entertainment. For me, if somebody and they see me going, I go through non-epileptic seizures, and these things can last anywhere from 1 hour to 7 hours to now even 9 hours was my longest one, which was only a month ago. Uh, the best thing I could tell anyone to do other than give me my medicine is to turn on something well. And I like the Coming Out of the Shells tour because I can sing along with the music. So while I'm laying there not able to talk, not able to breathe, and I'm gasping for air, I'm still trying to do. I'm trying. I can't get it out. But it's a way to try and pull me out of the situation that you can't do. But on other terms, as I mentioned before, the turtles taught me to read. If it wasn't for those cartoons, the books and toys inspiring me to be able to stand up for myself, I don't know if I would have forced myself to start reading like I do. Teachers tried with me, tried so many different things. I love Oliver Twist. I grew up on the musical. I could sing along with every single song. Consider yourself home, consider yourself part of the furniture. We've taken a lot to spare. Who cares? Whatever we got, we share. Could I read the book? No. I tried all the way through high school. How did I finally hear the book? Audible. Stephen King's It. Loved the movie. Loved Tim Curry. Could I read the book? Couldn't even get past the first chapter. Too much detail. But now I've listened to it because I finally got Audible in the last few years. But before that, Ninja Turtles is the only thing that helped me. And then I got online and I've met other turtle fans, and I'm like, I got friends. I got friends because of Ninja Turtles. There was an old mailing list that started up in 1996 called TMNT-L. And this is the very longest group that's ever lasted on the internet. It was around so long. I'm very upset at the person who kind of killed it a few years back. But TMNT-L started off as a mailing list. I joined it when there was only 15 members in September of 1995. And then in November 1995, I joined, I founded a chat room on IRC, yes, Internet Relay Chat, before we had Facebook and Discord and everything.
Yeah, name.
It was the best way of chatting. And I met friends around the world, giving me hope and giving me the chance to see that there are people out there I can relate to, who can understand me, who can realize that I'm actually somebody. Because back home, there was all the rumors. There was all these people who didn't like me that didn't even know who I was. But because of the internet, I met thousands of people that I go out of my way to go meet again and again. So there's many different emotional rides for Ninja Turtles. I don't think I can pinpoint. I could say one. Again, it has to do with later in my life, not my childhood. Again, I have a crippling disability. I was electrocuted 20 years ago, and I have severe nerve damage to my right arm. I have a battery in my chest. This is a scar where the battery is. It's been replaced once. And I got a wire down my spine. And if that turns off, I will drop right here and not be able to talk. Before I got this, I would cry if somebody even lightly touched my right arm. I would drop to the ground if a child bumped into me, and I would have parents screaming at me that their kids barely touched me. I was terrified to leave my house. And I still would try to go to conventions because I felt like if I just hid in my room, which is what I almost started doing at first, I wouldn't be living. And I got injured October 26th of 2004, shortly after the Totally Obsessed thing. And then in 2008, years later, they come up to me and say, hey, we have a surgery that might help you. It's a spinal cord stimulator, but you have to go through a test before we can do the surgery. They gave me the test the week of my birthday that year. So early May 2008, I have a wire sticking in my neck that went down into my pocket attached to its battery pack. And I got to go outside and hold my arm up in the breeze, in the wind, and not drop down crying in pain. That thrilled me. That made me so happy that I sobbed the day I was going in to have this wire taken out of my neck. I cried. I did a video to say how important that wire was to me and why I didn't want them to remove it. And then I went and got it removed. And I thought I was getting the surgery that summer, but it didn't come up. And then in 2010, my doctor calls me up. You still want the spinal cord stimulator? Yes, please give it to me. Well, workers' comp is making you go through the test surgery again. Why? What if it changed over the last few years? You need to have the test surgery. I need that. I need the actual surgery, not the test. That's torture. No, they made me go through the test again. I went another week where I could clap my hands, where I could shake hands, where I could actually go outside without a jacket. And then they took it away. And 2010 goes through and I don't get the surgery. And this is a very, at the time, emotional subject for me. I hated the fact that I wore a black band on my arm so people knew which arm not to touch. And I'd go and do the interviews. Like I'm sitting down interviewing Mark Casso, who's one of my biggest inspirations and somebody who was injured that got back on his feet. And as I'm interviewing him, you can see this interview, but not this part on YouTube.
Right.
During the interview, he goes, I have a question for you. What's that on your arm? And I had to tell him what happened to me. And it's, in a way, a bit embarrassing when you're trying to talk up this guy's amazing life. And then you're like, oh, yeah, I have this thing, but it stopped me from doing all of my dreams. There's no way I could ever be a costumer again. There's no way I can get back into the martial arts. There's no way I can be an artist again. There's no way I can live the life that I was originally bringing myself up for. And I was 26 years old when I lost my life. So one person who really knew this about me, because I don't see him as a celebrity to me anymore. I see him as one of my best friends that I would hang out with in LA, is Robbie Riss. Michelangelo's voice from the original 3 movies. He also did a voice in the original cartoon series, and he was Mondo Gecko in the 2012 series. That guy is the most Michelangelo-like actor of all Ninja Turtles. I know some people say Greg Sipes, because Greg's that hippie, awesome guy. I really love hanging out with Greg, but I felt like the 2012 series, Michelangelo acted more like Greg Sipes than like Michelangelo. My favorite Michelangelos go to like the original movie and the 2003 series and the original cartoon series. Those are the Mikeys that I combined as the one that I fan the most. And Robbie Rist is that Mikey, he's the voice that I imitate the most when I would do the birthday parties. And I was in LA, and I already hung out with Robbie a few times, and he knew I was heading back to Michigan, but my flight got postponed because I had a tour of Cartoon Network to go to. And I did that. And I also I have Toka's hand, his hand from Turtles 2, Secret of the Ooze, with the claws. It was given to me by Kurt Bryant, who's the actor who played Toka. And I brought that to show my friend from Cartoon Networks to a dinner. And I'm leaving on a flight back to Michigan the next day. And we just left the restaurant. I'm walking with this very fun guy named Santino. We already split up from our friend from Cartoon Network. It's Mickey, me, and Santino walking back to the bus stop. And my mom calls me and says, Michelle, you just got an envelope from Workers' Comp. Do you want me to open it? I said, yes, tell me what is it? And she opens it, and it's a very thick letter explaining how a doctor in Florida who's never seen me in his life has made the decision for Workers' Comp that I will not be getting my spinal cord stimulator. I broke down crying. I'm at the bus stop in Burbank, and I'm just sobbing. I am a complete miserable wreck. Mickey's standing right next to me. Santino's right there. Santino's Ernie Reyes Jr.'s younger brother.
Oh, okay.
But he's a huge Turtle fan. Right. But when Ernie was working on the movies, Santino never got to go to the set, never got to get to know any of the other actors.
And real quick, you mentioned Mark Caso. Mark Caso was Leonardo's actor in Turtles 1, right? first movie?
Three.
Oh, he was an author. Okay, okay, thank you. Okay,
Yeah.
for those who don't know. Okay, okay.
Yeah, and in Turtles 2, he's also the one who goes, "Hey April, you got a call from Donnie."
Oh
He
yeah,
does
that's right.
pretty.
Yeah, the little roles.
That's more.
That's right. The little cameos.
In 1980 he was in the Olympics, and while rehearsing and getting ready for the Olympics, he fell and broke his neck and was told he'd never walk again. And he not only did he get up and walk again, he's won 2 gold medals, and then he went and wore a 30-pound Ninja Turtle head on that neck for 2 movies. That's an impressive guy who was able to bounce back from an injury that nobody thought he could.
Yeah, and you shared how tough it was for you as 12 years old, wearing all that sweaty, the costume you had homemade. Imagine wearing the Henson edition.
Oh, I dreamed of wearing the Henson edition. That was my dream job. I grew up wearing those type of costumes. I mean, this picture on my hat, that's my parents right there in the 1980s.
Really?
So I grew up wearing costumes that could drink through their fingers, that had fans built into them, that had strobes to splash people with glowing eyes or blowing smoke.
Yeah.
My costumes were amazing. My dad was a mad genius. I love my dad.
Yeah.
That's why I wear him on my hat.
Absolutely. Oh, and you say you're really tight with Robbie Rist now. Just jumping forward, do you think he'd? I know they're making a new movie. A lot of us fans are pushing it. Do you know if he's anybody asking him to be the voice of Mikey in The Last Ronin? I know there's rumors, but how? What? I mean, that would be fantastic.
I haven't heard that rumor. The thing I heard is Wayne Grayson begging for that role.
Really? Wow.
Wayne would also do amazing at it because he did the dark, gritty Mikey in the future episode, same as it never was.
Oh yeah.
In the 2003 series,
That's
he
right.
did that very rough Mikey that met up with John. I could see him doing it, but yeah, Wayne Grayson's actually out there saying, "Hey dudes, look at me."
Yeah.
I don't know about Robbie. I know Robbie's kind of moved out of the area. He's now down in Florida. He's no longer in LA. But I'll be seeing him next month at Fanboy Expo in Knoxville, Kentucky.
Oh, nice.
But
Yeah.
what I want to say about me breaking down crying because of that horrible letter
Get back to this.
was while I'm sitting there, I look up and across the street, I see Robbie Rist.
Hey.
I see him. And I stand up and I go running away from my sister who's got Toka's claw and Santino. I just take off and Mickey doesn't understand. And I get to the corner where the stoplight is. And then I yell as loud as I could, "Robbie!" And Robbie turns and looks at me. And that's when Mickey, because Mickey's also good friends with him, realizes he's across the street. And he comes across the street as the other 2 catch up to me.
Yeah.
And I tell Robbie that workers' comp just denied my surgery. And he starts swearing and yelling and like really animated.
Right.
And then he's like, "I'm sorry, I can't stick around. I got a meeting. I'm actually already late, but that's just so wrong." And he says his goodbye, gives us his hugs, and he leaves. And Santino was standing there going, "I just heard Michelangelo swear."
Yeah, so I was just gonna say it went from a PG Michelangelo to a rated R one, pretty much. Wow.
And I got home and I was able to fight workers' comp on the decision and got my surgery a month and a half later.
Thank God.
So, but now I can kind of do this, but my arm, the more years go by, the more I get used to the wire and the pain is trying to return. And I don't know if you can see on the video, but my right arm is a little bit thinner than my left arm when martial artist.
If you look a little closer, I got it.
Yeah, you can kind of see it mainly in here. As a martial artist, the right arm used to be my strong arm, but I'm losing muscle and bone density in my right arm.
Well, thank you for sharing it, Robbie. So again, Michelangelo coming through, and like you mentioned too, all those Mikeys I'm on par with too for my favorite Mikey. I also enjoyed the Michelangelo in the Batman versus Ninja Turtle movie. I think that guy was really cool. He was pretty much the biggest fanboy, and to make Batman smile when he's pushing all those buttons and Batman says, "Nice job." Did you ever get to see that one? And what are your thoughts on that movie?
Not only did I see it, the day that it came out, May 14, 2019, I held a party at a church in the area.
Okay.
The pastor is known as Pastor Joker, so he's the Batman fan, I'm the Turtle fan, and we've been friends since 2007.
Okay.
And I downloaded the movie in the middle of the night because it just popped up on my iTunes. I had it pre-ordered because it came out in digital first, and then the hard copy was coming out in June. And I downloaded the movie, and I see the movie pop up when I was getting ready for bed because I knew I had the big party the next day that I was promoting on Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah.
And I'm like going, oh wow, I can watch the movie right. I can't go to bed. I gotta watch this movie.
Yeah.
And
Right.
my mom was just turning on the movie, and she was already in bed, and she goes, wait. And my mom gets up and joins me, and my sister, as we sat down and watched the movie together right there in the living room. It was fantastic. That movie just, I'm so glad I watched it at that time. And there was one point in the movie where I squealed going, fan service, that's fan service, that was such fan service. And my sister looks at me because she didn't catch what it was. And the credits start rolling. She goes, okay, I have a question. In the middle of the movie, you just start yelling, that was fan service. What did they do? What caught your attention? I go, the napkin scene. When Alfred offered them the napkin, I said out loud, what for? And then Mike and Raph said, what for in the movie? And that's the exact same Turtles who said it in Turtles 2: The Secret of the Ooze when April offered them napkins.
Yeah, they did so. Shredder coming down was just like the 1990 movie in its first entrance. I really hope they make a sequel. I know there's 3 volumes of the comic, right? They have Batman 1, 2, and 3 with the crossovers.
I've just heard like this roller coaster in a sequel. For a bit there,
Yeah.
I was hearing, yes, they're definitely making a sequel. They're definitely making a sequel.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of been on the back burner. You know, Warner Brothers has laid off a lot of animators. They've also been making movies and canceling them. Hey, I'll say it right now. Bring Wile E. Coyote versus Acme. Save the movie. Okay,
Yes,
there.
exactly.
There's my thing. Save Acme. Coyote versus Acme. Save the movie. Save it.
I would love to see that. I'm a big Looney Tunes guy myself. All right, so now we're going to share something that probably not many people know about here. You're a passionate TMNT fan. I am. I believe all of us have had some sort of dream. Are there any you remember in your life dreaming of the Ninja Turtles? Whether you were fighting Shredder together, just when you're in La La Land, you got to at least have 1 or 2 you can share with us.
I've got so many Ninja Turtle dreams. It's always kind of weird because it's more like us hanging out at a convention. I'm not into the violence part of Ninja Turtles. As much as I'm a Ninja Turtle fan, the fight scenes bore me because we always know who's going to win. It's more the interactions between the brothers and even the villains, especially when there's growth in the villains, like in the next mutation, Dr. Cornelius Quees, especially in the scripts. Oh, the script was beautiful for trusting Dr. Quees. That is the best script difference. The next mutation had so many good scenes cut from the scripts. Like in the first episode, there's a scene between Michelangelo and Donatello. You can even see some of the voice actors reading this on my YouTube channel. And it's Mike and Don sitting at a computer, and Don is she wants to know her age. Man, I love chat rooms. Where else can a cold-blooded reptile meet a hot-blooded babe? Tell her age. We're 18. Her and her friend just turned 17. Touchdown! Uh-oh. She wants to know what we look like. We'll tell her the truth. Tell her we're strong, handsome, intelligent, into martial arts and fast machines. Leave out the green part. Leave out the green part. That's it. That's all it is. And that was a deleted scene. Kirby Morrow, rest in peace, man, told me that was his audition line.
Really?
Yep. That was the scene he auditioned with, so he was very shocked to find out it was cut from the episode.
Well, the same thing too, because my memory's not that good with the more modern Turtle stuff, but I could have sworn Judith Hoag was supposed to have like a cameo in the Michael Bay 2014 movie, but that got cut. Do you know why that one happened, or like?
Just check the bonus features. It made it into the bonus
It
features
did?
on the DVD and deleted scenes.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. That's still out there. That's kind of like the movies do stuff sometimes just for the promotional take on it. A good thing is like they'll change out voice actors just for the celebrity name. They hired for the 2007 movie Quentin Flynn to be Casey Jones. Quentin Flynn is an actual voice actor for cartoons. That's what he does professionally. Most people would best know him from Naruto. He's Aruka Sensei. And he was Casey Jones, and he was going to conventions saying, "Hey man, I'm Casey Jones."
Yeah.
He didn't find out till we found out the voice cast was changed. Chris Evans was brought in to voice him. And or dubbed over. The sound of Chris Evans sounds almost identical to Quentin Flynn. They only did it for the name change, not for the performance. If you want to hear Chris Evans, listen to deleted scenes, and that's Chris' voice. No, not Chris, Quentin's.
That is in the
That's
deleted.
Quentin's.
Wow. So, that was actually one of my trivia questions earlier today. Mr. Captain America himself, an Avenger, was in a Turtle movie. So.
And so was Sarah Michelle Gellar doing the worst version of April O'Neil.
Oh, jeez, yeah. Now, I did. What are your thoughts on that movie? I did enjoy that '07 movie. I thought it was, like I say, they kind of go celebrity heavy, in that one with Patrick Stewart and a different story. But what was your take on that one?
Badly written fanfic. Oh, and this is coming from the script consultant.
Oh.
Me and one of the other Turtle fans out there got to work on that movie. We were paid by Warner Brothers to go over the script and tell them what was already done. So I am the reason that the swords are broken in the fight between Raph and Leo. Which
is such an iconic scene because a lot of fans always want to know what would happen if Leo fought Raph, and eventually we got to see that to a degree.
Why would people wonder that? It was overdone.
Yeah.
And the director wanted that so much. Kevin wanted that so much that he based the movie around that to where there was no reason for the turtles to be in that last fight scene.
Oh, you know what? You're right. Yeah.
The climax of the movie is when Raph and Leo fight.
Yeah.
By the time they get there, Max Winter says, "This is my fight," and then Splinter throws in, "But they were trained to do this." But this is Max Winter's personal fight. These generals are against Max. They don't even know who the turtles are. Leo was grabbed just as a cover.
Yeah.
They didn't care who the turtles are. The turtles have no emotional states in that battle. They don't know who Max Winter is. They never even learned his real story and that he was the good guy. They never learned anything. And then it was like, oh, we're so sad he's gone. But they don't even know why they were fighting.
Yeah, which is a little different too, right? I mean, I know April worked for him, but that didn't really have any, plot connection with the turtles either. So.
April was so out of character. I mean, the worst scene with April is when she did the bottom lip over the phone with Casey Jones. I'm like, this is not the April O'Neil I know. And her apartment just gave me heartache. I love her apartment in the first Turtle movie.
Oh, of course.
That is a real apartment. But the apartment in there, it reminded me of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. They knew who they had coming in, and they designed their apartment based on that.
Pretty much, they say just getting a couple names in there. They did okay, but yeah, exactly. Judith Hogue is still my April all day, every day. And now, why did she never get in the second movie? I was reading something in that book not too long ago. Like they said, the kids in focus groups didn't connect with her. That's like in the visual history and something else. That's
not even close to any of.
Not even close, Zipneck. No. Okay, let's hear it.
I'll give Judith his story.
Okay.
She was too vocal on set and trying to defend the actors in the costumes.
Really?
Okay? The actors in the suits were not exactly treated like stars. They were not treated like the heroes of the movie. No, April and Casey were. The people who showed their face was treated like stars. The people in the suits were going through brutal torture during that entire movie.
Oh, yeah.
And Judith saw what they were going through, and she was raising her voice, standing up for that. In fact, you can find out more about that. Sorry, Leo. In this book.
Oh, yes.
This book you can find on Amazon. It's called Teenage Ninja to Mutant Turtle. It's written by Ken Scott, who was Raphael's stunt double in Turtles 1 and Raph's main actor in Turtles 2. He went under the name Ken Trone back then, but he changed it. You can also get it on Audible, and it's read by him. And in that book, he does go on about how good Judith was towards them.
This is a fantastic book. I do remember they got it in one take when he takes the uppercut and he lands in the garbage can and he kicks his feet. They got so lucky with that shot. I do remember reading that part too.
Well, that shot is what got him the job.
Right.
Because that shot, when he went into that garbage can, and it wasn't him that did that scene. The one that went into that garbage can, the face caved in and broke the guy's nose, and that's why Ken became Raph.
Oh, wow. Wow, bless
That
him.
scene is such an important scene in the entire movie because of what it ended up doing behind the scenes. And Ken came in originally as one of the foot soldiers, like he is a fellow chucker dude. That's him.
He has a lot of foot rolls. I do remember that. That's right.
Yep. And so the scene where he falls into the trash can, that wasn't Ken. That was the original stunt double for Raph who went into the trash can. And the face caved in on him. So that's one of the many injuries of Ninja Turtle history.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh.
No, the worst is where he went to Stephen Ho during the sequel movie when the net fell by mistake. Not what you see on the screen. When the net fell on the screen, that was what they actually wanted. But there was one point where the net was not secure and the stunt doubles were in there, and all three stunt doubles that were in that net, Stephen Ho, Nick Palma, and Larry Lamb, fell, and they got injured. And Stephen ended up in the hospital for a while. And he still came back and did Turtle Street.
Oh my God. Yeah, look, this is the walking Wikipedia Turtles, guys, right here with Michele Ivey. So now we're going to get to something fun here. So, Cowabunga Corner. What inspired you to do, like, to set up this whole, entire YouTube channel, which is amazing, loaded with turtle content, interviews? I really want to hear how you did this because for those watching out here, this is going to be a great story for you.
Well, Cowabunga Corner got inspired because of the insanity of reality TV. Reality TV does a horrible job because what you watch is not reality. No matter which show, they took my story and said, let's do our own thing with it. And they didn't really tell my story. The best one who did it, well, it started, VH1 came.
Yeah.
And VH1 only came because a friend of mine who worked at Mirage Studios called me up and said, hey, there's a TV show looking for collectors. You should contact them. And when you have Mirage Studio people telling you, hey, then you think it's going to be safe.
Right.
But she didn't know what she was talking about as much as I didn't know anything because I don't watch VH1. So I had no clue what they do to people. I contacted them, sent in the video saying how the turtles are my life. And they took that line there and was like, oh, we can make a funny story out of her. And they showed up and did their 3 days of filming, which was awful.
Yeah.
During the filming, they treated it like a serious interview. And they flew in a friend of mine from Minnesota and interviewed her, but she didn't say anything bad about me. So her interview wasn't even used. They had my friend who just got out of the hospital, who originally said, no, I can't do the interview because I just got out of the hospital. They begged and pleaded until she did a 2-hour interview on her front porch, not even seen in the show.
Oh.
They also called my job and got it to where they can come film at the factory. Also not seen in the show. The machine that did this to my arm, they have video of me working it. This is stuff not seen in that show. And so it seemed like that was going to be a different story.
Yeah.
And then when the show came out, we're like, what? And then the next one I did, I think, was the one for, well, I did Fox 2 News, which was okay. Charles Pugh came out. Then I did the one for the season 7 DVD release, which it was kind of short and straight to the point. It was also good, and I'm friends with both of the other guys that were interviewed for that. And then I went to Fanatical, and Fanatical calls up, and my family's like, no, you know what VH1 did? You can't do another one of these shows. You can't do it. I'm like, now I know how they do it, and also I have nothing to hide, so I'm not going to be the one to say no. So they came out and they did the show and it looked fantastic. But every show that came at this point came with an entire crew. There was just so many of them. It was setting up studios in my room with lights and cameras. It would get so hot. The VH1 show was probably the most torturous because my back went out and then I had to put on the turtle costume. They kept me in the costume for an hour before having me spar my brother. They made sure I was beaten and worn out before I even started. And
you look like you're not.
So, and this is stuff I show in my behind the scenes at Cowabunga Corner 40. If you want to see the behind the scenes of VH1, check it out. See what I'm actually going through. There's spray glue in that turtle face because my dad had to repair the costume that day since I was not planning to wear it for them. And I just kept seeing all this stuff coming out and going, they don't show that I travel. I know Eastman and Laird. I go to Mirage Studios. I was backstage at the concert. I was on set of Ninja Turtles: The Next Mutations. I'm friends with the actors. I'm friends with the artist. I go out and hang out with fellow Turtle fans. I have so much more to my story on who I am. And everyone thinks I'm just this crazy turtle girl
Yeah.
that just sits around eating pizza every day with a big collection going, I love turtles. But that wasn't me. That wasn't what I wanted my story to be. And then I got a call. Hi, I'm with the Free Press and I'd like to do an interview. And I go, okay, sure. Just like any other interview. Yeah, you can come out. And this lady comes out. This is February 2010. And she brings a camera. And I go, I thought you're with the Free Press. That's our newspaper. And she goes, yeah, but we are on Channel 4 in the morning. We have a small bit on Channel 4. So this will be on tomorrow morning. I'm like, okay. It's just her. One video camera and her. She's there for not even a half hour. And I'm like, this is going to be a short clip. There's not going to be much to it. I watched it the next day and I'm like, she do like 20, 30, 40, 50 times better than VH1. She did amazing. She showed the artwork book. She showed who I am. She actually talked about me. If she can do it, I can do it. But I don't know how to video edit at the time. So my thought then goes, I'm just going to sit down and do a one take video and put it on YouTube. That's what I'm going to do. Yeah. So I sit down, about 20 takes later, my phone rings, happen to stop the camera again. And it's my best friend from the internet, also the editor for my book series I'm working on. And she's like, what are you up to? You haven't been online all day. And I'm like, I'm trying to film a video for my YouTube channel. And she goes, can I edit it? Yes, thank you. Yes. So I sent her the footage and I finished the last bit up. And then she contacts me and goes, what do you want to call it? And I go, what do you mean call it? She goes, you need a name. I do. And I sent her 3 names. Cowabunga Corner was one of the 3 names. She picked the name, tossed it back to me. I said, yeah, let's just go with it. And then the next morning we had the video up on YouTube and that was the start. And I'm like, that was so easy. Let's just keep doing it. But when we lost our home in 2014, I have not been able to really get back into the swing of having a video editing section or areas to film. And it's just gotten a lot harder.
Yeah, so you pretty much were going to go in as your own Channel 6. You were going to be April, Vernon, Byrne. You were going to be all of them.
Yeah, I'm gonna go rock this, but now I can do the video editing. Now I have my own laptop that's meant for it, and I know how to use Adobe Pro. Because I'd go down to my editor's house. She lives like 6 hours away, so it's not like I'm always there. But I'd actually go down to her house and visit with her, and she would show me
Yeah.
what she's doing and how to do it, and help me. And so I did a lot of my own video editing near the end there.
I mean, I've seen so many great videos. You've interviewed the likes of Rob Paulson, Pat Fraley, Ernie Reyes Jr. You even had panels of the writers from the show, and you were like hosting those. So which one is one of your favorites? I'm sure, if you could, if you had to just choose one, which would be your number one?
Leave Tilden. Leave Tilden.
Yeah.
One of the best memories ever. It was the hardest person for me to contact. And on top of that, it was the funniest behind the scenes stuff. I got so much footage from that interview. See, when I was a kid, I had 3 actors that I dreamed of meeting someday. 3, because they inspired me in different ways. Michelin Sisti being Michelangelo, I had to learn how he walked, how he moved. So when I'm walking as Michelangelo, I had him. I was imitating his walk, his movement of the arms. Everything I did as Mikey was based on Misha's movements. And then there was Ernie Reyes Jr. The interviews with him. He was a kid beating adults in competition. He did the Sidekick series. He was amazing. It wasn't the character of Kino that sold me on Ernie. It was his interviews. I would go over so many interviews. I can't even count how many times I watched Surf Ninjas back in the day. And I was just so impressed by him. And then there was Lee Tilden. And Leaf had the funniest interviews, and I could relate to him when he would talk about what it was like wearing the heavy costumes. He was the most relatable, talking about the spongeness and everything. And I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what those heavy foam costumes are like. Those three actors just held me. And then the TV series Dinosaur came out, and you got Michelin Sisti as Charlene and Robbie as Leaf Tilden, and I'm just like going, this is amazing. They stayed friends after Turtles. Michelangelo and Donatello are still together in a different series, and they got Splinter with them as the baby. I was so pulled in to those actors. I would read every interview, watch every interview, and I never thought in my life I'd meet them. And then all my friends are talking about San Diego Comic Con. Comic Con. And I'm like, I've been to New York. I've been, well, yeah, that time New York was just new, and I already went to New York. And I grew up doing sci-fi and horror cons all my life. I've been to sometimes up to 12, 13 cons a year. And, but everyone keeps saying San Diego is the convention to go to. So in 2007, months after the tickets went on sale, I'm down in Kentucky visiting with Phoenix. And I decide, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to go to San Diego Comic Con. I jump on, I buy a weekend pass, which included Wednesday, which is preview night, at $70. $70 after the convention tickets were already for sale. So cheap.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't
That's
expect that,
unheard of.
especially this was 2007. It's not that long ago. And so I buy my ticket and I make the plans with a friend of mine who lives up in Washington that I'm going to fly to Washington. We're going to drive down, stay at a hotel together, do the convention. She knows my medical condition, so she'll take care of me. And then we'll drive back up to Washington. And I got my ticket. There's nothing Ninja Turtles in my head about this convention besides for meeting other fans. That's why I was doing it. I was going to meet the West Coast Turtle fans.
Right.
And then Phoenix was reading the computer. She goes, did you know Michelin Sisti is going to be at San Diego Comic Con? What? What? Michelin, what are you talking about? Michelin Sisti was not listed on the guest list. And she goes, I was just reading the panels, and there's a Jim Henson panel, and he's on the panel. She never heard me fangirl scream in her life. And she's known me since 97. So at that time, it was 10 years of knowing me before she actually heard me fangirl scream and watched me dance and run around her house screaming. And I get to the convention, and then I get into the room, Ballroom 20. Anyone who knows San Diego Comic Con knows what Ballroom 20 is. It's a stage. Guests are let in backstage, let out backstage. You never see them. Besides, we're on that stage. And my friend, Brenatello, got us front row tickets. Not tickets, but front row seats. We're in the front row, but we're all the way stage right. And there's the stage off to the side. Talk about a neck crank. You're going to be staring like this the entire time to try and see the stage, or you're going to look up above your head where there's a video screen. It's not the best view, but it's the closest view we could get. So we're sitting there, and then a chair is set in front of us. We're like, what's this? And then they bring out all these gear around the chair, and out walks Michelin Sisti. Panel's not even started yet. He sits down, and the people around him starts connecting this gear onto him. And we're all sitting there, and there's a group of us. There's Turtle fans I know, some like me, some don't like me, but we're all just sitting there gawking like, that's Misha. So I get up and I go over and I go, excuse me, I just want to say hi. My name is Michele Ivey. I'm a huge, huge fan of your work. And I just want to say thank you for all the inspiration you gave me. And I sit back down. And then my friend Brent gets up and also says hi to him. And through the panel, and my video camera, instead of facing the stage where Brian Henson is now facing right at Misha in front of me. And he's making faces at us through the entire panel, picking on us. And I'm just in shock, such shock that I'm that close to one of the three people I always wanted to meet. And then the panel gets near ending, and they call the puppeteers on the stage. Misha's taken out of the gear, and he goes up there and does a Q&A, and my head goes, that's it. my chance of talking to him is gone. And the panel ends, and I run to the side of the stage, and I go, Misha. And he looks over and goes, yes. And I go, I have a question. I have one thing. Do you think you could sign one thing for me? And he goes, yeah, sure. And I go, and my friend in the Leonardo costume would like her picture taken with you. He jumps down and gets his picture with my friend. And as he's getting that photo, security starts coming to kick us out. And he's like, I'm sorry, everyone. I got to pack up my stuff and get out. And I go, can you sign this one thing? And I pull up this autographed T-shirt. And anyone who follows my Instagram can see pictures of this. Cowabunga Corner. And the autographed T-shirt is just covered front and back. And he goes, I have to sign that shirt. He got up, came out into the hallway with my entire group of about 15 of us. And he signed one item and did a photo with everybody in that group. He goes back in, and we're all talking, and one of our friends in that group was so busy talking to the other friends that he missed out.
Oh.
And I felt so sick because Turtles 2 is like the biggest thing, the inspiration for his name. He goes by the name Toka. Anyone who knows Toka in the Turtle fandom, this is Toka. This is the Toka. This is the Toka that Nickelodeon talks about. It's the Toka Mirage Studios talks about. Anyone behind the scenes, if you mention Toka, there's only one Toka. And this is Toka. And he missed out on that autograph. He was so devastated. And I'm like, oh man, well, we plan out where we're going for dinner. And then everybody leaves besides for me and that one girl that I'm traveling with. And we start packing up my tripods and putting all my books and stuff back into my bag, get it on my back, and out walks Misha with the other puppeteers. And I go, Misha, and he looks over, you're still here? And I go, I just got my stuff packed out. Hey, listen, one of my friends did not get your autograph. If I pick something from my collection to sign to him, would you sign an autograph for him? He goes, yes. And he looks at the other two and says, I'll meet you guys at dinner. And they walk off, and he stops, and he sees me pull out a folder, and I'm pulling out movie scripts, press photos, a bunch of different turtle stuff that I could be asking for him to sign. And I get a trading card, and I set it down and tell him to make that out to Toka. So he signs the card. I give him a business card and said, if you ever want to know how much you have inspired turtle fans, please check out TMNT. And he thanked me and left. 2 days later, I got an email saying he wanted to stay friends. And that was just the first. 2 years later, I made friends with Ernie. So now I'm thinking I'm friends with Ernie, which is another long story. So I don't want to.
No, that's okay.
You in all these long stories because all of them have like, oh my God, moments for me. In 2011, I'm in LA and I'm doing all these interviews for Cowabunga Corner. And I go to Misha's house and I go, dude, do you have any contact with Leaf? And he goes, no, he even stopped coming to the Henson parties. We don't see him at all anymore. This was his last known job description. He tells me what type of job Leaf was doing. And then I go to interview Stephen Ho. And I'm like, Stephen, do you have any contact with Leaf? And he's like, no, I haven't heard from him in years, not since we worked on the Turtle movie. So everyone I asked did not have information. So I took that job title, and I took his name, and I searched, and I found a phone number. And I'm like, is this real?
Yeah.
I held on to that phone number for 2 weeks before I finally got brave enough to call it. Because I don't like bothering anyone at home. I don't like using personal information to get a hold of people. I'd rather meet them on their terms, not on mine. But there was no other way of doing this. There was nothing. So I call and get the phone, and he answers, and I go, is this Leaf Tilton? And he goes, yes, it is. I go, hi, my name is Michele Ivey. I'm a huge Ninja Turtle fan. I've been inspired by your work, and I would love to interview you for my Ninja Turtle blog. He's like, is this a joke? No. I talked to him for a few minutes on the phone, but I hear something very strong, which I didn't hear with anybody else. Very high, like, tension. Like, he's not comfortable on this phone call. And I knew it. And he goes, you know what? Call me back in a few days and I'll let you know if I'll do this or not. So I call him back on the day that was agreed. And he talked to me. Again, I could still hear the tension. But he agreed to do the interview. And I'm thinking, I need to do something different because he's going to cancel. He's the only one I ever felt that with, that there's going to be a cancellation on this interview. So I take the information and send it to him on where we're going to be doing the interview. And I said, if you have any questions, or if you're going to cancel, call this other number.
Yeah.
So instead of calling me, I have him calling the location where the interview is going to be, which I set up as soon as I got a hold of Leaf. Because I don't have a place in LA. I have to always find somewhere to do the other interview, to meet up with these people, be it at a studio or somebody else's house or stores.
Yeah.
And this time I used the storefront. And I knew the person very well that I was calling and asking to do this for me. And I knew Leaf knew him. So I'm heading to the day of the original interview, and I get a call, and I see the message, Leaf canceled.
Ooh.
And I feel my heart sink because I'm like halfway there, just did all this public trans.
Yeah.
Me and my go to, huh?
No, just like all the work you put into, weeks of waiting, just to have the guts to, do this. And
Yeah. So I get to Denny's, Gower, and Vine, Denny's in Hollywood, if anyone knows the area. There's a Starbucks and stuff. There's a studio right there, the Gower Studios.
Yeah.
We're sitting down there, and then I get a voicemail. My phone doesn't even ring. It just went straight to voicemail. It's like a 2.5 to 3 minute voicemail from Leaf Tilden. I just called to cancel, and I was very surprised to find out I was on the phone with Stephen Ho. And we just reminisced for an hour about walking on the Ninja Turtle movies. You are insane. I've watched Cowabunga Corner now. You are insane. We are doing this interview. We are totally doing this interview.
Yes.
We are
Woo.
setting this up. Now, instead of the tension that he had
Yeah.
from the beginning, I have excitement in that voicemail. I sat down and cried because it works. My plan of if he canceled worked so well. Now, the best thing here is this interview meetup was the 20-year reunion of Leaf Tilden and Stephen Ho. It was their first time seeing each other in 20 years. I was there for that. We got there before Leaf did. I got video of them seeing each other for the first time in 20 years. I got video of Leaf running through Stephen's store, picking up stuff and picking on the prices. I got video of them trying to make coffee. I got video of Stephen Ho trying to beat up Leaf Tilden. It was the funniest video. Me and Mickey were having such a hard time keeping a straight face that I was dying laughing, even just trying to do the interview. If you watch that interview, you see how happy I am during that moment.
Yeah.
Because it was the best. It was, I know he's exaggerating on all his answers, but my favorite answer, I found out my editor cut after it was up. I'm like, well, I'm going to go watch it. And I'm like, dude, you cut the story about going bowling with Jim Henson.
Oh.
How can you cut that story?
Yeah.
And so I am going to try and do my own documentary from all the cut scenes and put in never before heard clips and photos and stuff from the Turtle movies. But that means I need to get a place to live where I have an editing station to sit down and work on this stuff. But that's the type of stuff in my head that I want to do for Turtle fans. And I don't want to go out there and sell it and make money off the fandom. No, I just want to throw it up on YouTube. I just want to get the stories out there. I want their stories cemented into history. I want to make sure our stories are cemented in history, not just mine, but every Turtle fan out there. We all played a part in making Turtles what it is. There is no number one fan. We're equal, and we're all amazing. And if you like me, if you don't like me, I don't care. We're all amazing.
% agree. Well, just like, you do your own movie reviews on there, you do comic reviews. Now, how did you get into drawing too? I wanted to ask that for, I have 2 more questions for you before we get into some gaming. So you are a fantastic artist when it comes to drawing these turtle sketches. I've seen them on your Facebook page. So what led you to that direction? That's another special skill you got.
Well, I grew up in a family of artists. My dad was art director of a TV show. He had his first cartoon on the air by the age of 14. My mom was an artist. My family embraces the arts. That's what we love. And when I was a kid, I thought being an artist was going to be my dream job. That's where I was going to go. I was going to be an artist. I was going to draw turtles or most of my drawings when I was really little was Care Bears and My Little Pony and Elf and Roger Rabbit. And then of course Turtles, Little Mermaid. I loved all that stuff. And then I realized something. I never caught up to my sister. My sister's 4 years older than me, and her artwork can make you go. My sister made this tick pen that's on the front of my hat. She made all these pens on the back of my hat. My sister has sculpted for Disney. So in my opinion, yeah, my art is fun, but I'm not an artist. No, in no way. And especially now, my arm's gotten worse. I don't know if I can draw anymore. It's of 2 months ago. I can't even hold a book without shaking. But when I'm standing up, I have a harder time holding books. I think I can do it while I'm sitting. But my sister, she's a huge inspiration to me. I love what she does, and she's the one who ran with the art. In fact, that's why I'm in this building right now. She's working on art projects for one of my friends who worked on Ninja Turtles. So.
Awesome. So another question is, for those of you guys watching now, what would you say to them? What advice can you give somebody who wanted to start their own podcast, their own YouTube channel? Because you are very passionate. You are fearless. I see you on there. You don't give a bleep. You know, you're just going out there doing your thing, which is incredible and very inspiring to a lot of us. So if you had any advice for anybody watching this right now, what would you give them if they were to start a new podcast or interview?
A few things. One, don't copy anyone else. Be your own, be original, and be you. If somebody's doing a Ninja Turtle blog and you feel like, oh, somebody's already doing it, just do it on your fandom. Do it on what you enjoy. Don't worry about what they're doing. Be yourself. And that's another thing. Don't worry about comments. You're going to get like 70% to 80% more negative comments than you're going to get positive comments. Why? If people are satisfied, they're more likely to walk away. People are upset about something, they're more likely to complain or pick on you. Or if they're just trolls, they're going to pick on you. You got to deal with all that stuff no matter what. So instead of worrying what they're saying, just turn around and laugh with them. It annoys the daylights out of people. I always laugh at the people who try to pick on me because I'm like, oh, you're picking on a character. But yeah, you go around and just enjoy and find your passion, find what you enjoy. Don't do something for popularity. Do something because your heart tells you you have to do it. Don't get into it thinking, I'm going to make money by becoming a blogger. I never made money being a blogger. I did a Kickstarter, and all that money went back into Cowabunga Corner. We got new cameras and tripods, and all that stuff is over 10 years old now and broken. One of the cameras got drowned in a flood.
Damn.
But don't ever worry about that outside stuff. Just worry about what's here. When you get in front of the camera, just know you're talking to your best friend. Your best friends are watching this. Your family can watch this. Anyone can watch this. And just picture the friends. Don't worry about people. Because you're going to have people who don't agree with you no matter what you do. No matter what you do. I've been picked on since I was a kid. And the first thing I learned was the only people who matter are the people that I actually love. And that's my best friends who I consider family, and my family that I grew up with, my actual family. My mom and my sister go everywhere with me. You see me at San Diego Comic-Con, most likely you'll meet them. That's how much they go everywhere with me. So yeah, family and friends are all that matters. Everyone else, maybe you'll make new friends. Don't worry about the others.
Excellent advice, Michelle. I have another question here for you, just because you're a diehard Turtle fan like me. What are some of your favorite inspirational Master Splinter quotes? I don't know if anybody's asked you that before, but I'd like to ask that. Your favorite inspirational Master Splinter quotes. I'm sure you got a lot of them. If you could just name your Mount Rushmore, I guess, just go with 4.
Anger clouds the mind. Turn inward is an unconquerable enemy. You are unique among your brothers, for you choose to face this enemy alone. But as you face it, do not forget them, and do not forget me. I am here, my son. How's that?
Bravo. One of my favorite scenes in that movie, because you see Raph shedding tears too at that too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because Splinter's that Splinter's like the most epic Splinter. Really.
Oh yeah, nothing's ever gonna top Kevin Clash with the voice, just the power, just the The one I always like is the All Fathers Care for Their Sons. You know, just that was another good spot too with Danny.
Yep.
So much good stuff in there.
There's
Oh, now for the fun stuff. We asked you to bring a couple things to show us. We did see the TMNT 3 movie prop. Do you have anything else that we can check out here?
well, actually, I'll save this one. There,
Okay,
yeah,
that's the main event. Okay, cool, cool, cool.
I played with this a little bit earlier on video. People might recognize these as Michelangelo's combat cold cuts from the beginning of Ninja Turtles 2: The Secret of the Ooze. These are a screen used prop. There was 2 sets of the combat cold cuts made, Michelin Sisti set, which this is one of those, and Nick Palma's set. Nick Palma kept both of his, and when he found out Misha did not have any of his, he gave one of his to Misha's. I do not know where the other one from this pair is. And but it was Misha who did that scene because they needed the mouth to move, so he actually learned the full chucking scene for that.
So next
Also
time,
with
next time we see those, you're going to use mustard, right?
Oh yeah, and next time I'll use mustard. I don't like mustard. Um, Also with me, this book, anyone who meets me can normally get to see this book because it is one of my pride and joys. I bring it to a lot of different events. Let's see if we can get without the glare. That's a sketch from Kevin Eastman in 1994. My second time meeting him. Here's sketches from 1992 from Kevin Eastman and photo of me with Eastman and Laird when I first met them on August 23rd, 1992. And that's them on that same day.
You met them in the Turtle Prime then, pretty much.
Yes, I did. It's been a long time. There's my first sketch from Peter Laird and my second one.
Does that say Turtle Con?
Huh?
Does that say Turtle Con? There was a Turtle convention for Ninja Turtle fans? Where the heck was I for this one? If you scroll up right there, yeah, and that says Turtle Con, right?
And they'll say TurtleCon, Portsmouth, New Hampshire, August 23rd, 1992, TurtleCon.
Oh,
It was a one-day convention,
man.
and my family went out there for it. That's where these drawings
Wow.
and these pictures were taken. And yes, I have the video of it on Cowabunga Corner.
Oh, yeah, I'm definitely heading there this weekend. Gotta check that video out.
This picture here is Mirage Studios parking lot with Peter Laird back in 2005. And that's Brinatello, the one that, oh, okay. A German book just fell to the ground. Then here's Clunk by Jim Lawson, and my favorite Peter Laird one, of course, a Mikey.
For those who don't know, Clunk is the cat in the 2003 Christmas special, Christmas Aliens. Michelangelo adopts a cat and calls him Clunk.
Yes, he's in the original Mirage comics.
This too?
And he's in the IDW comics. He's in the 2003 series. Clunk makes his way around. Ice Cream Kitty is in the 2012 series. There's a bunch of sketches from Kevin Eastman, but that's a picture of me with Kevin Eastman and his wife, Julie Strain, at the time. I miss her. Rest in peace, Julie. I miss you. She was an amazing person. That picture was in 97. This picture of me and Kevin is 1999, and another sketch by Kevin behind that. There's more sketches, like there's this beautiful comic book cover he did for me.
Oh, man.
All
the red mask, too.
Oh, yeah. I asked for only 2 turtles and told him to mail it for me, and he did all 4. That's Kevin for you. Mark Bodie, he did both of these, and he also did my tattoo.
Oh, that looks so good, that nunchuck animation. Oh, yeah. See, that's the turtle. Let's see, that's the one thing, like a minor bone to pick with how they do our turtles now, the Fred Wolf era. They're always so happy. It's like there's just so much more detail they had in those older turtle sketches. So that was a great picture you shared.
Well, this one here is done by Dan. He's one of the Mirage guys. Got that in 2005. And this is Michael Dooney. And then Bill Wolf, another one where I'm going to say rest in peace. We lost him in 2020, right around COVID time. I think he passed away from COVID. He came down sick, called a friend, said happy birthday. I would have came over, but I'm sick. And that was the last time anyone heard from him. I feel bad about that. He was a writer, producer, and director for the original cartoon series. I went to interview him for Cowabunga Corner, and when I showed up, he surprised me with that drawing. And then this is Howard. He's one of the designers for toys for Varner Studios that did the original Ninja Turtle toy lines. If you want to meet Howard, he's usually at the Varner booth over at San Diego Comic-Con.
Now, did that one get passed for a toy real quick, Michelle? 'Cause I used to have the punk rock toys. I don't recall it. I know Donatello had a mohawk. That's my favorite. It is my favorite toy of the whole franchise. Is the Rampant Mike. I have not watched this one since I was a kid. This is always my favorite one right here.
That right there is a drawing from Chris Allen, the creator of Ninjara. If you don't know who Ninjara is, read the Archie comics. Highly recommended.
Okay.
And Ken Michitoni is one of the artists from the Archie comics. And so there's two of the Archies. Michael Zulli, the first time you see the turtles with that beak. This is from the Mirage comics. He was one of the artists. When I went up and asked Michael for a sketch, he's like, "You won't even know my turtles if I draw one." And I'm like, "Hey, can you sign these comic books while you're at it?" And I threw down all three of the comics. He's like, "Oh, you do know my work." So he did me and Leonardo.
Mic drop.
And then this is Don Simpson. He did stuff for the Archie comics. And that's one of his old 1990 sketches. He didn't draw me something new, but he had this in his thing, and he's like, "No, that's got to be in with the other guys." Frank Fosco from the Image comic books. And here we have Eric from Mirage and Dave, the creator of PandaCon, him and his wife Monica. Then this year is the Turtle Titan by Steve Levine. This is actual artwork from a coloring book. So this is original coloring book artwork.
Oh.
And then we're going into the 2003 series. This here is Jose. He's one of the storyboard artists. And here's Tracy, who's also one of the storyboard artists. And then we have the prop designer, Keith, who did this April O'Neil and that Leo for me. As you can tell, it's in order by when they worked on the turtles. Now, we have the character designer for the 2003 series, got a Hun.
He has different colored hair in that photo. It looks like he was more blonde hair in the show, wasn't he? Is that just an original sketch? Okay.
But he was doing this at a convention. They didn't have all the stuff for coloring.
Oh,
they weren't
okay.
even at this con. They were just there hanging out with friends, and they started doing drawings for all the fans there.
Okay.
I mean, Jose did sketches as good as this for everyone who showed up, and they were doing all this for free. He did this kind of stuff for free.
No
for
cost.
everyone who came by.
Oh my gosh.
And then this here is straight from Denny's portfolio, and he's the background artist. So there's Donatello's lab. And there is Shredder's headquarters. And then this is the DVD cover artist. And this here is the voice of Baxter Stockman from the 2003 series. His day job was doing comic for newspapers.
He was such a good Baxter, too. He was great.
He's one of my favorites. He really is. There's Toka's artwork. Toka has been published before. He's been published in Mirage, Tales of TMNT Volume 2, and IDW. And then going with IDW, this is Dave Peterson, known for Mouse Guard, but also did some of the work with IDW. The writer of the IDW series for the last 50-ish issues, from 101 to issue 150, was Sophie Campbell, and these are sketches from Sophie. And then this is Mike. He's also one of the artists that I know from the IDW series. Andy, one of the creators of Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but this is before the 2012 series even came out. This was May 2012. I saw him at a convention, went up to him and said, "Hey, I know you're doing artwork for the 2012 Ninja Turtle series." He did merchandise artwork, like what's on my hat here. So this is a sketch from before Don's design was really released. And then Philippe is one of the character designers for the 2012 series. Oh, and then this is storyboard from Ninja Turtles 2: The Secret Ooze that was used on the set, given to me by Stephen Ho. I got the donut scene. And I went and got Mark Casso, Robbie Riss, Nick Palma, Michelin Sisti, Mark Ginther, and Kurt Bryant and Kevin Eastman all to sign it.
Oh. Let's see.
But that's, I guess I'll show what I let people hold if they meet me. This here is a #1 first printing of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Came out 40 years ago on May
Oh,
5th.
cue the angel music. Oh,
And it is signed by Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird.
now is that
And
your
we got
favorite piece of your collection? That's got to be one of them.
it's up there, but it's no my I have a hard time with favorite pieces. My favorite piece, like emotionally, forever will be the costume my dad made me.
Oh, yeah, I'd say that's a lot of sentimental value.
That right there touches me here. Anything happens to that, and I'll treat it like a family member died. I know because when the Bebop costume got destroyed a few years back, I was at San Diego Comic Con and I read the news on Facebook. My parents didn't even call me first.
Oh,
And it ruined the entire convention for me. I got sick, physically sick. I was throwing up. I was sobbing. I couldn't even pay attention during panels. I was so depressed. The entire weekend just got washed away, and the emotions I went through when that costume was destroyed. That's how close I get to the parts of my collection. I feel like they're a part of my history. They're a part of the fans' history. I meet fans who saw me as a turtle when they were kids, and it's hard to think that the Bebop that they saw, and they have pictures with Bebop, is gone. There's nothing of that costume left besides for the pair of pants that you can't even tell unless you know what it is. We also have the foot communicator, which wasn't even used during the parties, that was used for photo shoots. So nothing from that Bebop remains. It was somehow stored into a shed. I didn't even know it was in the shed. I thought it was in the basement. And the area we lived, they cleaned out around the train tracks, which chased a bunch of rats into the neighborhood. So sheds and garages turned into rat nests, and that costume was completely destroyed.
major bummer.
And
Dude.
yeah, that to this day kills me right here. That's probably the hardest piece of my collection I've ever lost. Um, but otherwise, I love the NECA toys. Like these toys here, I actually helped with the set when it was coming out. If anyone has a set, the pizza in the set was pictures of my pizza that I got when I got backstage. I was handed a pizza. And so I gave NECA the measurements and photos of my pizza to help them. So yeah, there's so much stuff that I've had my hands on that I've been part of. Then with the next mutation, with the toys, the cartoons, that picking favorites. Of course, I love the movie props, but I think everyone focuses on them because they're so unique. They stand out.
Yeah.
Um, they are amazing, and yes, I will never sell or get rid of them as long as I'm alive. If I start getting rid of my collection, you guys know there's something wrong with me, and I'm not planning to stay around. So yeah, the collection right now is my goal. I want to open a museum. I want to get the stuff out there where it belongs to all the fandom, not just hidden away in somebody's collection. I bring them out as much as I can to events. I just did a toy store last month where we took 4 hours setup and 4 hours teardown and a full day event all in the same day. And that's just because of the passion of sharing this stuff with everybody, knowing that it cannot stay in one person's place. It's got to be out there. It's all of our history. And so that's what I do with the collection. It gets out there for people to enjoy. But yeah, it's hard to pick a favorite though. That booklet of artwork right there has a lot of history for me. So that's one of my favorites. But I have so much where I work on it. Like there's this picture here where I'm going to finally finish it next month. It's signed by April and three of the guys who wear the turtle costumes. And I'm going to be meeting Leonardo for the first time in just a couple weeks, and I'll be getting him to sign it to complete the photo.
Oh,
So
that
I have them all.
the Fanboy Expo,
Mhm.
right? That's coming up in Tennessee, I think, in a couple weeks, right?
Yep, Fanboy in Tennessee. I'm going to show up. My mom and my sister and my friend Larry's joining us, and we're going to go and see the guys. It'll be my first time meeting David, who's Leonardo, and it'll also be my first time meeting Todd, who's one of the writers from the first Turtle movie. I've met Bobby, who's the other writer. So the first Turtle movie had two different writers. Bobby wrote first, and then Todd came in and redid the script. I've not been able to compare the two scripts to know how much it's different, but I also know that Todd wrote Turtles 2: The Secret of the Ooze. So I'm going to jump over to that big prop that everyone absolutely adores that's sitting next to me.
Yeah.
This here is actually a screen-used TGI ooze canister from Turtles 2: The Secret of the Ooze.
The green stuff.
Yep. It's signed by Michelangelo, Donatello, Professor Jordan Perry. Yes, he did see it before he passed away. And it's signed by Splinter, Kevin Clash. And then this right here is Vanilla Ice. So, and here's the non-signed side. And it's all broken up, so, and I got a lot of these cracks on there before I got it, so we believe this was used during the football fight scene over at the TGI lab.
You mentioned Ninja Turtle Museum, Michelle. That has a nice ring to it, doesn't it?
It does. It does. I've loaned off parts of my collection to different museums and galleries around the country, just to be able to keep the stuff afloat for people to see and learn the history. I mean, where I'm at right now has a huge part in Ninja Turtle history. Huge, huge part. A lot of us wouldn't even know of Ninja Turtles if it wasn't for this company that I'm sitting in right now. Back in 1984, Eastman and Laird released this comic book. But where did it go from there? Dark Horse Miniatures jumped in and said, we want to make miniatures of these characters. They make them miniatures. But can you tell me who jumped in after Dark Horse?
Oh, that's okay. I wish you were here for trivia. I mean, if you, the only person, I would guess Mark Friedman, the agent. I don't think that's going to be correct. Let's see. Who was it?
Palladium RPG Books.
That's right, the RPG game. Okay.
And they just did a huge Kickstarter last year. A huge Kickstarter where they're releasing 2 books. That is all of their old Ninja Turtle roleplay books put together in 2 books. And the new artwork and the coloring and everything being put together for these books is gorgeous. Just stunning. And there's miniatures. You can still take part in this. If people look at my Facebook page, I was recently tagged in a photo with a link to their Kickstarter. Or you can just Google Palladium Ninja Turtle Kickstarter and find it. And you can still pre-order these books. They're gorgeous. What they're doing is just now Palladium jumps in and says, if you got miniatures, you need a role play book. And Kevin Simay, guy here, is the owner of Palladium. He's the one who put that together, and Eric Wujcik was the writer. Sadly, we lost Eric Wujcik in 2008, and that was a hard loss. I'm happy to say I got to meet him once before he passed away. But they did such an amazing job on these books. They were around for many years, but they were working on another book series with a licensor, and Kevin sent that licensor one of these. And that licensor loved what he saw and said, I want to get in touch with them. And Kevin's like, they're not interested in getting this licensed. They're handling everything themselves. And that person kept pestering Kevin for an entire year. So Kevin finally arranged the meetup. Kevin, Palladium RPG Books, arranged the meetup between Mark Friedman and Eastman and Laird. If it was not for this company, would you know what Ninja Turtles are?
That's how that connection came to be. Okay.
So Kevin is here in this building right now. It's a Michigan company, and my sister's doing some artwork for them. So this is where I'm spending my time right now.
Man. Oh, Michelle, this has flown by. We have been going for almost 2 hours just talking turtles. I hope we can get another part 2 in because there's so much turtle content and so much turtle talking. Before we let you go, do you still have time for some Twitch gaming after this? Are you down for the arcade games for a bit?
Ooh.
The first one, the first one's about 30 minutes.
7.
Oh, okay.
Would you be up for more around 8 p.m.?
Yeah, we can definitely do that then. That sounds good to me.
Okay, then I will have time to get home from here, and then I'll be able to get onto the game.
That sounds good. And you're in the Eastern Coast, so 7 o'clock. So 7 my time, 8 your time?
No, I was saying 8 your time, 9 my time.
Okay, sounds good to me.
Yeah, that gives me more time because I'm not near home.
Sounds good. Now, where can
So,
people find you now? You say Cowabunga Corner. Is that Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube? Instagram?
and you can watch the videos on YouTube, but I have not posted too much new stuff. I've done a few live videos in the last year, but most of my new content is through Facebook, my personal page, not the Cowabunga Corner one. And but the main area, like I don't even do Facebook Messenger. The main area where you can contact me, where you can interact with me is Instagram. I am very active there. That's my favorite area to go on social media.
Perfect. Well, Michele, thank you so much for your time here today. This was great. We got to know a little bit more about you that most people don't know. And I hope we get to do this again sometime. We'll see you later tonight for some Twitch gaming on the TMNT arcade collection. All right?
Okay. Okay, guys, next time. Cowabunga.
Cowabunga indeed. Thank you very much, Michele.
Not a problem. Bye.